If you roll the clock back a few months to some of the earlier leaks and rumors about the Pixel 8, one of the biggest ones that I think got a lot of us very excited and seemed to be fairly believable due to the source of where it was coming from and some other aspects of the leak were the apparent upgrade from the GN1 sensor for the primary camera to the significantly larger GN2. Of course, now that the Pixel 8 has been fully announced and we have spec sheets and so forth to look at, it has become clear that the Pixel 8 does not, in fact, have that upgraded GN2 sensor. However, that is not the end of this story. I'm going to direct you towards this tweet from M. Brandon Lee, who was also directing us towards this article from XDA developers. And if you scroll down here, you see they're talking about slightly new camera sensors. And at first, they talked about it being the GN2, but now after digging in, and you can see here from this, that it's been determined that more than likely this is not the GN2. It's actually a much lesser heard of sensor called the GNV. Is it a GN1 or a GN2? Why does it have some features from the GN2 but not the size? Because it is, in fact, a GNV sensor as well. If we look at this here, you can see that the Pixel 8 Pro does indeed have the same specifications, more or less. So here's the 7 Pro, here's the 8 Pro, 50 megapixels, 25 millimeters, 1 over 1.31 inches, 1.2 micrometers. But there's one difference there, and that is the aperture. 1.7 versus 1.9. So if you don't know, the smaller the number, the wider the aperture, which means more light being taken in. If we go back to this XDA article, 21% more light being taken in versus the Pixel 7 cameras. And that does make sense with this change in aperture size. So we're not getting that big jump to the GN2. We're getting a sort of mid-step to the GNV. You should also, be aware here that this sensor is new to the Pixel, but it's not new in general. It has been used in devices like the Vivo X80 Pro already, but never fear, that camera put out some really, really outstanding shots. So this is just like the GN1. This is a very good sensor. Now, one of the possible features that it has that the GN1 didn't have, the GN2 did have, is something like dual exposure on the main camera. We'll read this here. Dual exposure technology is available on the new main camera in the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro. It makes videos sharper and less grainy in scenes with the toughest lighting, like a sunset backdrop. Dual exposure effectively takes two images simultaneously, one optimized for low light and the other for a high dynamic range. And of course, it's going to combine those with software. The result is a natural looking video with vivid color and low noise. I believe this is something called staggered HDR that is only going to be present in the GNV, not that GN1. So it is an upgrade, okay? It is capturing more light, and it does have these additional features. What does capturing more light do for you? Well, it's going to be quicker on focus, right? It's also going to be giving you a more shallow depth of field. It's also going to give you better detail, so better low light as well. Like, there's lots of advantages to capturing more light with your sensor, plus the actual, literal new features on it. So again, it's not the GN2, but don't be too disappointed because it is still an improved sensor. Looking at the rest here, the telephoto is exactly the same, except once again, we have a wider aperture. I always do that. I try to highlight text on a picture. My brain doesn't work very well. Wider aperture again. So on the telephoto, we're capturing more light. And when we're talking about a telephoto lens, they're often a really, really small aperture, which means, in lower light, you do get more grain. So this should help sort of combat that grain situation. And then with the ultra wide, we're going from a 12 megapixel to a 48 megapixel, again, with a wider aperture. And in case you see that the pixels are 0.8 micrometer instead of 1.25 micrometers, bear in mind that it's not shooting an output of 48 megapixels. It's going to be pixel binning. So if you take 0.8 micrometers and you bend it down to 12, you're going to be getting a micrometer measurement of over 3 per super pixel. So all in all, the cameras on the Pixel 8 Pro should indeed be on a hardware level significantly better than that of the Pixel 7 or Pixel 7 Pro, even though, again, you're going to hear from people saying, it's supposed to be the GN2, it's not, oh, it's the GN1. That's not true. It is a new sensor, it is better, and the ultra-wide's better, and the telephoto's better. This is a pretty radically improved camera setup over last year, much more so than I think a lot of people are going to realize at first blush. So guys, that's where we stand with the Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro cameras. Are you disappointed with this? Is this about what you expected? Let me know in those comments down below. Did you purchase, or pre-order, I should say, a Pixel 8 or Pixel 8 Pro? I'd love to hear that as well. If you haven't done so and you plan on buying one anyway, using my link down below, as long as it's not the Google Store link, because Google Store does not have affiliate links. If it's the Best Buy or the Amazon, that will help support the channel. So if you're going to do it anyways, consider using my link down below to make your purchase. I would appreciate it a lot. At any rate, guys, thanks for watching. I will see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.